What's good, guys? It's your boy DeMarcus J, and today we're back with another new tier list video. Today is January 20th. This is our third consecutive week doing a NBA Power Rankings tier list. If this is your first video watching, we do have 6 tiers. S tier being the contenders, A tier being the team that can make a run, B tier are playoff bound teams, C are just mid tier teams that are okay, may make the play in, and D are bad teams that I don't see making the playoffs at all, and F is the season over category. Those are the teams that are likely tanking for next season. So this is what we have left over from last week. I told you guys I will not be doing much in the D's and F tiers week by week because most of these things will not change. However, this week we do have a few changes here. We do need to bring the Charlotte Hornets down to the season over category. They are now sitting at 9-31, 40 games into the season, on a 2-8. They're 2-8 in their last 10 games. LaMelo Ball is back at this time, but their season is over. They're just trying to get good draft capital for next season. Also, I do want to move the Utah Jazz into the mid tier, as the Utah Jazz should have moved into the mid tier after last week. They are currently on the 2-game losing streak, but they are 7-3 in their last 10 games, sitting at 9th in the Western Conference. And then we are going to move the Atlanta Hawks into the mid tier as well. They will be at the end of the mid tier. Atlanta is 5-5, as mid as you can get over your last 10 games. And there's a lot of smoke with the DeJounte Murray trade situation. And I do believe we may be seeing DeJounte Murray's last few days in Atlanta now. But other than that, we are going to start out here. Nothing too much has changed here. We're still going to have the Bucks, Celtics, and the Denver Nuggets. We're going to have those three teams. I think those three teams have kind of cemented themselves in the S tier, at least how things are presently constructed. Nothing major has happened between these two teams, or these three teams here. But what we are actually going to do is move Denver in front of Boston, as Denver has ended the Celtics 20-0. Celtics were 20-0 at home until this following week when Denver came into Boston and beat them at Boston. So for that just very fact, I will just move them ahead of Boston at this time. Just being able to give Boston that first loss at home. I think we are really seeing Denver come into form here mid-season. Now what we are going to do is move the Brooklyn Nets into this bad tier. They have been in the mid tier, but they are now 2-8 over their last 10 games, and they've fallen to 11th in the Eastern Conference. So they've fallen completely out of the play-in race, at least at this time of this video, and they've been jumped by the Atlanta Hawks. So basically them and Atlanta just switched tiers for this video. Next, we're going to go with the Chicago Bulls, who are just going to go right in front of the Atlanta Hawks. The Bulls have not been great. They are now 21-23 on a 2-game winning streak, however, and they've moved themselves up into 9th in the Eastern Conference. So if the play-in was to start today, they would be in it. Now this team here, I have to move Cleveland up. I have to move Cleveland into this can make a run category. Cleveland has been phenomenal. Last week they were in the B tier, in just the playoff tier. But Cleveland is on a 7-game winning streak, winning 8 of their last 10, and they are right behind the Philadelphia 76ers. They are currently sitting at 4th in the Eastern Conference. I will have to give the nod to Philadelphia, as Philadelphia is about 2.5 games in front of this Cleveland at this time, and they still have Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is still playing at an MVP type level. It all just kind of depends on that seeding and if they can get home court advantage for multiple rounds in the playoffs there. I just really find it hard to believe, just like years past, I find it really hard to believe Embiid can get past either the Bucks or the Celtics in a 7-game series. Next, we're going to go with the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks are just going to be in this playoffs tier. They are currently sitting at 6th in the Western Conference, so they're just missing that play-in game by a few games. But Sacramento is on their tails as we speak. And for that very reason, I am going to put Sacramento right behind them in this B tier. These are two teams I really feel like may make a move here at the deadline to try and cement those standings here in the Western Conference. Next, we are going to do the Houston Rockets. They are going to be at the top of this D tier. Houston has not, they've been great at home all season, sitting at a 16-6 record. Over the last 10 games, however, they have been struggling, sitting at a sub-500 record, and they've now been dropped out of the play-in, and the Lakers have actually jumped over them in the standings. So Houston is now sitting at 11th in the West, and now the Lakers are sitting at 10th. Now, for the Lakers, I'm going to have to put them in they're going to also be at the bottom end of this mid tier. They are currently sitting in the play-in, and when you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, you can always make a run, always one piece out. And I do believe the Lakers are going to be a team we see that are very active around this trade deadline. But as presently constructed, they are a mid-tier team, and I would find it hard to believe that they may make it out of the play-in, especially if they would have to face teams like Sacramento or Phoenix, who are both sitting in the play-in race at this time. Next, we do have Golden State. They're going to be in this bad tier. And yes, they're going to be behind the Houston Rockets. I'm not going to put them behind the Brooklyn Nets nor Toronto just yet. But Golden State is bad. They're on a 2-game losing streak. They're sitting at 12th in the Western Conference. There are a lot of trade rumors about Andrew Wiggins, guys like that on the roster. And they're actually come off a pretty embarrassing loss as well this week. They actually lost to the Memphis Grizzlies with only Jaren Jackson playing. There was no Desmond Bane, no Ja Morant, no Marcus Smart, no Steven Adams. And they got lit up by 19-year-old Gigi Jackson on national TV. To further notice, Golden State is a bad basketball team, and even if they were to make it into a play-in type scenario, I don't think they can beat any of the teams in front of them to get a playoff spot. Next, we are going to go with the Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers are going to be in the middle of this B tier. They actually just made a big trade, getting Pascal Siakam from the Toronto Raptors. And that is a huge move for them. Also, Tyrese Halliburton has just made his return to the court this week as well. So they are getting healthier, and they're getting a few pieces here. It looks like they may be active at the deadline. They do think they are a playoff caliber team. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pascal Siakam was not the only addition that this team made during the trade deadline. They are currently sitting at 7th in the Eastern Conference. Like I said, however, Tyrese Halliburton has just came back, and Pascal had just made his debut for the team. So I think we'll be seeing them possibly move up this list as the season progresses, depending on what else they could do. Next, we do have the Clippers, and you guys know how I feel about the Clippers. I do believe they are a very dangerous team. I do believe they can make a run. They are actually my second favorite behind the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference. They are sitting at fourth in the West, however. But like I said, just looking at the teams around them, I do think they are just a tier above the teams like Minnesota and Oklahoma here. Speaking of Minnesota and Oklahoma, I'm going to have to put Minnesota here in the can make a run. They've been looking great. Minnesota is sitting at 30-12, and they're sitting at the top of the Western Conference. They have been looking phenomenal. Anthony Edwards has took a jump, and Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert are playing well on the court together, something I never thought we would see actually. So until further notice, or until the Timberwolves shows that they are frauds, they're going to be in this A tier and they can make a run. They may be legit this year, guys. Next, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, Oklahoma is going to be another team. I'm going to put them at the back of this can make a run tier. I'm just going to start giving them their respect. They're 29-13, sitting at second in the Western Conference. They're ahead of teams like Minnesota and the Clippers. They've been winning, especially at home. They have a 16-5 record at home, and they're sitting at 6-4 out of their last 10 games. They've been playing great, and they're a very young team. So I think as the season progresses, they're only going to get better and better. I do wonder how they will look in the playoffs, however, just being so young. Next, we are going to do the Miami Heat here. Miami Heat is going to be in the playoffs tier. There's been some very interesting rumors about the Heat possibly getting a DeJounte Murray or Terry Rozier, who I think the guard play for the Heat has been the thing that's been lacking. We've seen them in the playoffs the last few years, and that guard position has been something that has always gave them troubles. Next, we do have the New Orleans Pelicans, who I'm going to have to put at the top end of this B tier. They're currently sitting at 5th in the Western Conference, and they are 6-4 over their last 10 games as well. They've been playing much better as of late, and they've kind of cemented themselves in that playoff range. I think they're another one of those teams as Zion gets going, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum becomes fully healthy. I think the Pelicans do have a pretty dangerous roster that can give a lot of teams issues in a 7-game series in the playoffs. As of right now, the West is very tough. And if the playoffs started today, they would be playing the Clippers. And that's just why I cannot put them any higher than this, because I do believe the Clippers are still a legitimate title contender. Next, we do have the Phoenix Suns. I am going to put them in this playoffs tier as well, just behind the Mavericks and Pelicans here. Yeah, they are 7-3 over their last 10, and they're really starting to heat up. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, they're all healthy finally, so we're all getting to see them play now. But I will say this, I think they're still one piece away. As you can see, they are one injury away from their season being over. Bradley Beal missed a lot of time. I believe that's kind of why they're in the situation they are right now, as well as Devin Booker has missed time this season. So I think they do need to work on their depth a bit more. Then we have two more teams here. So first, we're going to do the New York Knicks, and we're going to put them in this playoffs tier as well, at the top of this B tier. They've been great since they've added OG Anunoby. They're 8-2 over their last 10 games. currently on the 3-game winning streak. Only thing about them is I just hope they can make it to the end of the season here. Tibbs is playing these guys a lot of minutes, like he always has. So that is tolling, especially in the 82-game season. So I do just want to see if this team can go that full distance. But as of right now, they've been playing phenomenal, and I'm going to make sure their ranking shows. Next, we are going to have the Orlando Magic, and they are going to be the last team we're going to add in this mid tier here. They'll be at the top of this C tier in front of the Jazz and the Bulls. They've been struggling as of late. They're now 3-7 in their last 10, and they fell all the way until 8th in the Eastern Conference. There was a time when they were a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference, but as of late, they've been losing. They're still one of the better defensive teams in the league. And like I said, as of right now, they're still in the play-in, but they haven't been looking good as of late. So this is a team I think we can see fall lower and lower during this list, just depending on what type of moves they make at the trade deadline. Other than that, guys, this is the full tier list rankings update. Just let me know if you guys disagree, agree with anything. Comment down below any suggestions you may have going forward. Other than that, guys, I'm out.